Welcome to 100 Yards in Football. And this is our Legends segment tonight. And tonight, we've got a recurring guest, Mr. Lawrence Big Daddy Hunt from the great Delray Beach, Florida. Carver High great, Iowa State great. Lawrence, welcome to the show tonight, man.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Glad to be here.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. We had such a good time the last time. You and I have spoke several times since, and we want to discuss something tonight. And I hope that all the moms and dads are watching tonight, and everybody's taking notes. If you're a kid who's dreaming to go and play on the next level or to play professionally one day, you need to listen to this conversation because it's going to benefit you tremendously. And so we're excited to be here. So Lawrence, let's talk about it, man, because I remember some of our conversation on the last show, how we talked about, leaving Delray and going to a big university like Iowa State and, and talking about the academic piece, right? And I remember you saying how, look, you had to catch up and, learn and, and find out, what it's going to take to be a good student in college. And I know the same was for me, because back in those days, we didn't have a lot of help.
No,
we didn't have a lot of help. So, we had to get it. And, back in the old day, you would read about college players who flunked out of school.
Mm-hmm.
You don't read about that too much today, right?
Nope, you don't.
So we didn't have that kind of help. And so one of the things that you and I agreed to is that our heart to help the generations that are behind us, right? And anything we can do to teach and guide the youth of the day and even parents through the process of, going to college and playing football or just going to college, right?
Right.
Going to college. And also, if you're dreaming, one of the things that I'm a believer in, first of all, I don't believe in trying to steal someone's dream. But at the end of the day, we have to put real numbers to the test, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, there are only, in the NFL today, Lawrence, there are only 1,600 jobs for NFL ball players. Now, when I look at that number, Tom Brady has been around a long time. He's kept somebody from a roster for a long time. And a lot of those positions are going to be kept by veterans, guys who've been there, proven, done that, been there, done that. And for a rookie to come in and make a squad, it's not an easy thing.
Not an easy.
And then if you do make a squad, the NFL average, the league average, the lifespan of an NFL football player is still 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And every kid is thinking, I'm going to get rich. I'm going to take care of my mom, my dad, my aunt and them, my mom and them, every them, right? You can't do that. You have to be careful. So we want to kind of talk some things through today, and hopefully we can help educate some of you out here who's listening, and I'll help you along your journey.
Sure.
So Lawrence, talk to me about what you've been doing. I know you've been mentoring kids, and just talk about some of the things that you've done in the last few years.
So, Bobby, and thank you. One of the things that I want to put on the table right away is that college football is an $8 billion industry.
Wow.
$8 billion. And several states have approved for college athletes to be paid. They're going to start getting paid for their image, for all kinds of revenue streams. And that really sort of complicates the landscape because we're talking about student athletes. We're talking about those kids like you and I, years ago. Coach saw me play, wanted me to come to Iowa State and play football. They kept saying student athlete. I kept saying athlete student. And it took a while for that to catch on. Probably my junior year when I realized, I need to pay attention.
Right.
I need to pay attention. And so for me, it was my junior year when I finally got it, that I needed to pay attention to my grades. I needed to pay attention to my classes. I needed to continue to perform well on the field. And Bobby, one of the things that came to me very early on is that I had no interest in pursuing a professional football career.
Right.
So I had to start preparing myself to enter the working world.
Right.
And many of our young athletes, and I'm afraid of this, they believe that they are the elite athlete, and many of them are elite, but elite doesn't always make the cut. Teams have certain position types. They have needs, and they draft and hire people based on their need, not based on what your needs are. They could give a hoot about your needs. And I think we have to be realistic about that. It's a 1,600 jobs in NFL.
Right.
Not a lot of room for a long career, not a lot of room for a mediocre or just an elite athlete. You have to bring something else to the table.
Absolutely.
So, Bobby, I've had the great fortune of being able to work with young people who are not student athletes, but are in need of mentors. And in Central Florida, where I live, that's what I do 7 days a week.
Wow.
We're mentoring young people who are caught up in the juvenile justice system, trying to show them there's a better way, there's a more sustained way of living, and a happier life at the end of the day if you get on the right track.
Right.
And I think those same lessons that I talk to those kids about apply to young athletes, young student athletes looking at going to college on football, baseball, track, basketball scholarships. And Bobby, I am very concerned as I look at the NCAA finally admitting that they have been making bank on the backs of young athletes, huge bank on the backs of young athletes. I am terribly concerned that the communities, Black and brown people, are not as informed about this system of a payment that's getting ready to explode, and how their daughters and sons could be exploited, how their whole family could be exploited.
Right.
And I think Bob, what I'd like to see us do is at some point bring some people on that can actually talk about that and how we help young athletes and their families prepare for this in two ways: as an athlete, but also as a former athlete, and what happens in the next chapter of your life when you're no longer engaged or playing football or playing sport.
Right.
Where do you want to go? What are your goals? How are we going to get there? And then how do we drive that conversation to the next level where caregivers are saying, hey, coach said you got potential, but you have a life after that.
Right.
And then how do we help you get to that point? And how do we have those conversations within the community?
Right.
And I'm just terribly concerned that we're creating a monster where a bunch of kids and a bunch of parents are going to be heartbroken, crestfallen when they find out that all the good things they heard about what could happen with these new money streams, when it doesn't pan out. And I would hate for that to happen, Bobby.
Right. Well, the conversation's got to be had, and it's up to guys like us, Lawrence, to make it happen, because we've been there, done that. We've been in the system, so to speak. And even though that system is changing from how it was when you and I were in college, I'm happy to see some changes. I'm happy to see football coaches can't keep a team the whole week for unlimited hours. Right. Because when we were in college, I know there was no limit on how long they could keep a football team in practice. I mean, our day started early. We went to class at 8 o'clock in the morning. We couldn't take a class past 12. Right. I had to be dressed. And when I had to be dressed for a football meeting, that meant I have to already have my ankles taped. Yep. And half dressed. Yep. To be in a meeting at 1:30. Yep. All right. So that meeting lasts from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. And then at 3 o'clock, I went to the locker room. I got the rest of my gear, my shoulder pads and my helmet, walked to the practice field. And at 3:20, we hit the field running.
Yep.
And then about 6 o'clock, we come off the field.
Yep.
And as soon as we come off the field, the clock is already ticking, right? Because we ate dinner. The time said from 6 to 7. Well, we were not in the cafeteria at 6.
Right.
We'll get there at 6:30, something like that, when we're rushing, and dinner's from that time until 7. When 7 o'clock came around, Lawrence, we had film study from 7 to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Listen to this now. And then at 9 p.m., we had study hall for freshmen and for guys who had academic trouble.
Yeah.
And then at 11 o'clock, we had a lights out curfew.
Yeah.
You couldn't have a light on in your room at 11 o'clock. And so our whole day was gone. And so did we have a real true opportunity to study? Absolutely not.
No. No, you didn't.
We didn't have a chance to study. And I had a buddy who was an A student, and he's a strong safety. And I used to ask him, say, man, how are you getting it done? He said, well, Bobby, I'm cheating. I mean, what do you mean you're cheating? I got my light on. I got my light on in the corner. I'm studying at night after 11 o'clock. And then we start the next day early again, and you had to be at breakfast. So the time that we put in, it was tremendous back in those days. And it's a wonder why that a lot of us didn't, flunk out. It was a tough schedule. And so
I had that same experience at Iowa State. It was a very regimented routine.
Yes.
It was very football oriented, and it wasn't 3 months out of the year. It was year round.
It was year round, right?
I didn't have summers off in college.
Wow.
We continued to work, lift, and run, not to the same extent as we were in school. But there was a requirement if you were taking summer classes, and I always took summer classes, that you were going to work out before the day was over. And then once fall ball came in, Bobby, it was back to the same schedule that you're talking about.
Absolutely.
No class later than 12 o'clock. You had to be back over there for film. You had to get tape. You had to get to your sessions, and you had to get on the field. And it was mandatory that you ate with the team.
Absolutely.
So we didn't have a chance to do anything else. We were all about the football, man. All about the football.
Right. So that's when you get there. I think one of the things that we need to also discuss right now, Lawrence, is the fact that kids in high school preparing to go to college. You're dreaming. You want to make this happen. You've seen guys in the community go on, but you got to make sure, and this is for the parents as well. You got to make sure that your kid is not just great football players. Because I know right now, they put so much into playing ball. The 7-on-7s, the extra training. People are hiring trainers now. Guys in the community are training guys, and so we put so much effort into that, but we forget the academic piece. And you gotta get the academic piece. Right? Because if you don't have a certain grade point average, GPA, and if you don't do well on your standardized tests, SAT, ACT, right, you won't qualify for college.
Right.
And my boys, I got 4 boys, and my older 2, played college Division I basketball and football, and I can remember guys coming up with them who committed to Alabama, committed to some of the bigger programs, but they didn't qualify academically.
Yeah.
And everybody's, well, what happened to that kid? Well, he didn't do well in the classroom.
Right.
And so, they didn't do it. And so they're so busy being a high school star, and they're not starring in the classroom. See, I'm going to be honest with you, Lawrence. I like kids who are stars in both athletics and academics.
Yes.
Because I can recruit that kid and not have to worry about him once he comes here. He's going to get his grades. And listen, guys, if you're just a super stud ball player, it's not enough. You got to get in the classroom and be a super stud academic kid, along with being a great football player or basketball.
Bobby, only 42% of all the young black athletes are graduating college. 42%. 42% are graduating. So
Wow.
we have to start paying attention to why are you going to college? What's your why? Why
Mm.
are you going? And where do you want to end up? We got to start asking those questions now.
Mm-hmm.
Ninth
Mm-hmm.
grade, 10th grade. We got to identify what our values are. We got to figure out why you're playing football, what you want to get out of this, and
Mm-hmm.
then be honest with yourself about what your skills are. And then
Absolutely.
let's start working on those things that you're not particularly strong at. And
Absolutely.
the real conversations have to be had now,
Right.
because there are too many young student athletes that are walking around town talking about I could have been, I should have been,
Mm.
and we all know those guys, and you don't have to be that guy because
Mm.
we're talking about it now.
Right.
Academics matter. Your
It matters.
values matter. What you say on
Absolutely
social media matters.
matters.
And moms and dads can control that language. They can control this
Mhm.
to the extent that they want the best for their child athlete or student athlete.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's it right there. That's it right there.
Yeah,
But it does start in the home. And,
yeah.
I can remember, Lawrence, when we were kids, you know, all my teachers pretty much taught my parents, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it was like, if I messed up in school, I hope that my teacher never called home,
Yeah.
because if it happened, Reverend Butler was going to be waiting on me at the door. He's going to be waiting on me at the door. Now, in high school, what I was really good at, I didn't have good study skills, right? But I was a good listener. And in high school, I could make C's and B's going to class listening.
Mm-hmm.
And to me at that time, that's all I needed to do, right? That's all I needed to do. As long as I'm getting C's and B's, I'm not failing anything. Well, I take that back. I did fail science on every level of school, by the way. So there were some classes I had to take over. But anyway, that's what I did. But when I went to Florida State, I found out right away that I can't go to class and listen and pass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was going to take more of an effort. But here's where I was lacking, Lawrence. I couldn't take notes fast.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't take notes fast enough, listen and keep up with what was going on.
Yeah.
And back in the 70s, man, my classes, I had 500 students in most of my classes.
Yeah, yeah.
Back in the 70s, right? And so I can imagine what it's like now. But and so when you're a freshman, all you're worrying about is all the beautiful girls coming in the classroom, right?
Yep.
Oh, look at that one. And the professor is giving the information. They're not telling you to be quiet like my high school teacher did.
Right.
They weren't telling me to be quiet. They're putting the information out there. You either get it or you don't.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
It's up to you. And so when you get to college, you really got to be more responsible for yourself, And so what I had to learn to do, what I did, Lawrence, and this is what I had to do to keep my eligibility. I found somebody in the classroom who I could either study with or share notes with. Not really share notes. You give me the notes. Because I didn't have anything to give you in return, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how I studied. I studied that way with somebody else's notes all the time because I couldn't keep up pace, right?
Bobby, I had to do the same thing at Iowa State. I was not prepared for the onslaught that hit me when I got into class. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to play football. I really wanted to be good at it. So I had to reach back for help. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, there were enough kids that were willing to share their notes with me so I could get through my classes. And man, I tell you, it was a great help to me. But for those kind people who allowed me, and Bobby, everyone who goes had someone to help them make it. Everyone had someone to help them make it.
That's right.
And the kids who weren't on scholarship, they had study groups, so they were helping each other. They knew we couldn't do that, so they were helping us make it as well. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
That sense of community will be everywhere you go if you are a decent and kind person.
Say that again.
And it's important. It is very important.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you, I'm assuming that most high school coaches, guidance counselors, they're helping their athletes understand what they need to do. If you're looking at trying to get a football scholarship or athletic scholarship, how you have to register with the clearinghouse.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I had my boys on a schedule. I had them where they qualified. I made them qualify by the end of their junior year in high school. Because I've seen kids over the years, Lawrence, they're getting tight. They're not qualified and they're in their senior year.
Yeah.
They're trying to play football at the best of their ability.
Right.
And they haven't even qualified with their SAT or ACT test.
Right.
And so they're pushing that off. Now, signing date is in February. And so football season is over, let's say November. And now you're cramming to get qualified.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the other thing that's going on. Colleges may have given you an offer, but if they don't think that you're going to qualify, if you haven't qualified, they're going to start taking some of those offers off the table.
Yep.
I've seen that happen.
Yes.
And guys are like, well, what's going on? What's going on? No, you need to get qualified. So the best case scenario is that you're qualified by the end of your junior year. Okay. Now there are a lot of prep courses for SAT, ACT, right? You can go to your guidance counselors in school. Ask them, they will help you. Listen, you have not because you ask not.
There you go.
Make sure you ask them, and they know you need help, but you got to seek it out. You're not the only student that they have, so you got to go seek them out. They will help you. And there are people who will help you study and get prepared for that. Lawrence and I are fortunate. When we came out of high school, I don't know how it was when you came out, Lawrence, but when I came out in 77, all I had to do, I didn't have to have a score on my SAT. Mm-hmm. All I had to do was just take it.
Yes.
See, all you needed was a 2.0.
Yep.
All you need to do is just take the exam. You didn't have to get a score on the exam. Put your name on it, put all A's down there if you want to. You just had to take the exam.
Yeah. Yeah. Iowa State required.
Nowadays, based on your GPA, not your overall GPA, your core GPA, is going to determine what score you got to have on your standardized test.
Yep.
And if you have a C average, you're going to have to score higher as if you were an AB student.
Absolutely.
Which really doesn't make sense, right?
Absolutely.
But that's where it is. My oldest son played basketball at Fordham University. He had a 3.5 GPA in his core. All right, 3.5. He had to score, Lawrence, 425 points on the SAT to get in. That's it. That's almost like putting your name on it.
Yeah.
Just put your name on it. But the higher you achieve in school, the lower score you have.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? The lower you achieve, you got to score at a higher level.
The higher you go.
So parents understand that. Kids understand that. So pay attention in class. Do everything you can do academically to make your life better. All right? A lot of people are not going to tell you that. Well, we're telling you that tonight, right? And make sure, get yourself ready to be qualified by the end of your junior year. And if you do that, here's what'll happen for you. You can have a senior year of all senior years. Just go play ball. You're qualified. You're qualified now, right? Enjoy your senior year. Don't put all this pressure on your back trying to get to college, trying to get qualified. Get it done.
Absolutely.
Get it done.
And Bobby, I cannot stress enough the importance of two things that every student athlete has to do, and they have to start now, right now. Read. You have to start reading. You have to become familiar with the English language. You must develop a broad vocabulary. And you can read about football all day. I don't care. Read every book there is about football because there's stuff to be learned about football and stuff that is germane. You'll be able to apply to anything. But if you don't read, if you don't develop that skill, you will find yourself always behind the curveball in class. And take algebra, math, science seriously. Please take it seriously.
Absolutely.
Those are the classes that will bounce you out of college, give you the fit. They gave me a fit, but I finally got it, but it took a while. and demand that your teachers right now spend extra time with you so that you understand these concepts, because they're very important. We're talking about the basics, people.
Yes.
Student athletes are brighter than most students. You're learning how to perform under great stress and pressure and excitement, and you learn how to do things by repetition.
Right.
And learning is the same as playing football. You learn by repetition. And now's the time to take yourself seriously, take your future seriously, and pay attention to these things. And we're going to continue to talk about these things, because moms and dads need to understand you're more than a football player.
Right.
You are a community asset. You have tremendous potential. And we want to see you develop all of your potentials, not just your athletic abilities, but your other skills, God-given talents. And you have them. We all have them.
Well, I tell you, Lawrence, it's amazing because, all of us dreaming as kids, we want to go to the next level and play this great game that we love. The city of Delray is in love with the game of football, right? It has been that way. It's been that way forever. And so, but with this great game comes a lot of things, right? So when I was a kid dreaming, Lawrence, I never forget being in the 5th grade with Miss Lycurgus, right? And Grace Lycurgus was my 5th grade teacher. And the first day of school, they would ask everybody, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? And she went down the first row, and everything was good because, people wanted to be firemen, police officers, lawyers, doctors, teachers, have you nurses and all that kind of stuff. And when they got to me on the 3rd row, she asked me, and I said, I want to play professional football. And she responded by saying, you need to have a backup plan. And the whole class just burst out into laughter, right? Lawrence, I was so mad. And I kept saying, I'm going to show all of them. I'm going to show them all, right? But even at that time, that dream was so deep down in my heart, right? And I had this strong belief, and I had a very wild imagination, of dreaming. And so, but it's amazing, right? Now, if you love the game of football, now listen, this is a podcast that I'm involved with. It's called 100 Yards of Football. I don't make any money doing this, but I enjoy inspiring people and talking to old guys who play, who inspired me. I enjoy this, right? It's football, right? It's based because we had a football connection, right? And so when I retired from the NFL in 1993, I went into the insurance business, and I did that for a while. But I did that. I call that was the way I was making a living now. But guess what I did, Lawrence, all the time? I did football camps for kids. I should go back to Delray. After my rookie year, I went back to Delray. And I didn't charge any kid anything. I fed them. Y'all come, right? And let me inspire you, and let me help you dream. And
right.
And what I did, I invited guys from the area who I played high school ball with: Otis Anderson, Ricky Jackson, Anthony Carter, Carlos Carson, Leonard Coleman, all those guys, and they would come and volunteer, and we tried to inspire kids. And so I started doing that, and not thinking, because I love the game. And so then, in Atlanta, I started doing it where my kids played youth football, and I would have these free camps, right? And so in the about 1999 to 2000, I had an old teammate who had retired and had moved back up to the Virginias. And he said, look, Bob, he came down, and one of his nephews was in the camp, and he just started watching and watching. I saw him out there, and he owned his business attire, and we're sweating in the Georgia heat. He said, man, we need to have lunch. And so we got together, and he said, look, man, I'm moving back to Atlanta. He said, man, I love what you guys are doing. He said, me and my wife have been putting on these character camps in Virginia and North Carolina. And he said, come back down here. I would like to meet with you and talk about putting a character-based camp with your football and marrying the two. And we did that.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And Lawrence, we started doing that in 2001. And since that time, we've been doing football camps and clinics for kids ages 7 to 13.
Oh, wonderful.
Right?
Wonderful, Bobby.
We have trained in our camps over 70,000 kids in the last few years. And then last year, we kind of got, of course, with the pandemic, that kind of got put on hold.
Sure.
But I'm sharing all this to say this. When Miss Lycurgus told me I needed a backup plan, what she should have said to me and what I would say to any kid who really think that you love the sport that much, that's all you want to do is the sport, well, go to college, get a degree, and coach.
Yeah.
Because one day your playing days are going to be up. I don't care how good you are.
Right.
Tom Brady is trying to play until he died, but that's not going to happen, y'all. I promise you.
He's not going to do that.
I promise you. It won't be long now. Tom Brady is going to be on the same side as I am right now, a retired NFL ball player. You can't play the game forever. But if you truly love the game, if you educate yourself, you don't have to give up your dream because you can't play it no more.
Right.
Some of the people who influenced us was Coach Roger Coffey, who was an educator. He was an educator. He got his college degree from Bethune-Cookman College. And he coached high school football. And he taught class. Coach Wilder coached me in high school. He went to college. He got his degree. Coach Harris, he coached me. Coach Phil Henson, he coached me. All those guys went to college and got a degree and continued to work in the game that they love, got paid doing it. Yeah. In high school, you don't make a lot of money coaching ball, by the way. Right, so you do have to teach school, right? And so you can do that and keep going. Since I retired in 1993, because of this great game I love, I'm still involved with football in some kind of way. Think about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be 62. Me and Lawrence going to get another year older on the 28th of this month. At the end
Amen.
Yeah, I'll be 62, but I'm not going to tell you how old he's going to be. Right?
I'm going to put it out there. I'll be 69 years old, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh, my God. I know that's right. So I say all that to say this. I won't be a dream killer, but find out if you're involved in athletics and that's all you want to do, the next best thing after you play is coaching to help kids like somebody helped you on their journey and their path in life. Teach them the discipline, the love of the game, the discipline it takes to play the game, right? And also teaching them the important piece of academics as a part of being this athletic coach.
Absolutely.
It's major. It's major.
And Bob, we can't leave moms and dads and caregivers out.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a family affair.
Absolutely.
Without my mom and dad and my brothers and sisters coming to every football game, there was never a question about what was going to happen on Friday night when it was football season. The entire family was going to be at the park. It's going to be at the park. And even when I went to Iowa State, my mom and dad always found a way to get there for at least 2 games a year.
Wow.
So moms and dads, caregivers, know what's going on in your child's life when it comes to athletics. Make certain that you're asking the questions, and there are no small injuries. Every injury should be treated with great care because they develop later on into other things. And training is so important. It's critically important. This game of football is a tough sport. This game of sport, competitive sport, track, no matter what you're playing, basketball, baseball, you've got to get your body prepared to be in competition. And moms and dads, you got to get your babies ready. You got to make certain they get their sleep. You got to make certain they get the right foods, and they got to rest. They can't be up all night on the YouTube. They got to get their rest. If nothing else, the injuries that you suffer in football are serious. But the better prepared you are, strength-wise, the better you're going to be going into old age. And
You said it, and you and I both can attest to that because we've all had injuries, right? Playing 12 years, and then when I left the game, Lawrence, a lot of people look at me and go, "Oh man, he's all right." He didn't get hurt. Man, let me tell you something. Injuries do have a compound effect. Oh, listen to what Lawrence just said. I in the NFL, my second year, I completely ripped the labrum in my left shoulder. And I didn't like the team orthopedic doctor at the time and was afraid really to allow him to operate on me, right? So I played 11 seasons, man, with the jacked up shoulder where it could not stay in place. Nothing was helping to stabilize that shoulder. And so I played 11 years that way.
Wow.
And so since then, I retired in 93. I was in good shape. I thought I was good. And then in 2005, I woke up one morning, Lawrence, and I couldn't raise my arm no higher than
Oh, no.
my left arm. And so just like we do, because we grew up in that era, right? Oh, I'll be all right in a couple of days.
Yeah.
I'll be okay in a couple of days, right? A couple of days go by, I still can't lift my arm. Then I say, well, I'll just wait this week and see what happens. Then I wait the 2 weeks, and then finally I went to the doctor, right? And the doctor told me I needed to replace my left shoulder, and I told him he was crazy. Him and my wife were deciding on my shoulder. I'm not doing that, right? And so I come home. I'm angry. I come home. I grab the side of the door, and I yanked on my arm, and it put it back in place. All of a sudden, I can raise my arm, right?
Wow.
I go, oh, I never needed that surgery. I knew they were crazy in the first place, right? Well, then in college, my sophomore year, I hurt my neck. I got a stinger, what we call a stinger, right? Which is nothing more than your vertebrae smashing your nerve and making your whole neck and your shoulder, arm go numb, right?
Right.
And so you think that's okay because it happens to everybody, right? Well, next thing I'm playing, and and I'm a small guy. When I'm in college, I started 145 pounds. When I left Florida State, I was 155, but I was mean and nasty, and I love to hit, and I'll go in, and I love playing against the great running backs, the Billy Sims, the George Rogers, and I couldn't wait to play because I'm gonna read it, Lawrence, and I'm gonna put 4.3 speed on, and I'm going to a head-on-head collision. And back then we used the head.
Yes, you did.
Right? Not knowing what I was doing to my little bitty body.
Right.
Acting crazy, right?
Right.
And so to make a long story short, in 2009, I had my neck fused. You can probably see that little line right there. They went in the front and they fused C4, C5, C6, C7. So most of my neck is one piece. I don't have the small piece of the vertebrae that makes my neck flexible. And then when I had the surgery, Lawrence, they went in there and they found like hundreds of bone spurs in there. And found out that part of the problems I was experiencing was, my neck would lock up, and I would call it. I had a crook in my neck, right?
Yeah.
Every time I would train to try to strengthen it, I'd get that crook in my neck.
Yeah.
And then I'll stop training, right? And I go, all right, well, next year or another time. But what was going on, it was so many bone spurs in there that the fluid that rests between those discs couldn't flow right.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was still playing like that, man, just playing like that, just banging and banging. And the one thing in my day, I didn't tell a trainer everything. I'm just going to be honest with you. Because if you say neck or your back, you know what that means. You're out the door.
Yeah, right.
You're out the door, right?
Yeah. Now you become a liability.
Right, exactly. And you're gone. And so what I did, I kept my mouth shut. I just played, man. I just played. But when I came out, I thought I was okay. And then probably about 10 to 12 years after I got out the game, things started to go south. So I had my shoulder replaced. I had my neck fused. And I'm still not 100%. I mean, you can see that arm. That's it right there.
Yeah.
I can't go any straight. Now, my right arm, right, is different. But that arm right there it is right there, right? But I don't have to jump and catch a ball at the highest peak anymore. Thank God for that. But I'm glad you brought that up. Take this thing serious, y'all. Take it serious, and make sure you get sometimes a second opinion, because everybody wants their kid to play.
Very important. Very important.
And this concussion thing is real crazy, man. So young men, if you're out there learning how to tackle, there are safer ways. You can't always keep the head out of the contact because it is football. But they are teaching safer techniques now. And so learn them and make sure you're not using your head.
Absolutely. Bobby, that's great. That's a great example of the importance of paying attention to your body and understanding what injury is, because it's with you for a lifetime. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't speak up, if you don't take care of yourself. Bobby, will kids have an opportunity to write letters or respond to you to this? How do they do that? How do we respond to the questions?
Absolutely. All you got to do, if you want to email me personally, you email me at butlerrobert88@gmail.com. That's my email address. Or you can always respond to this show. This show is a live show, and you can comment and leave your messages here. Nobody's commented on anything tonight, but that's how you get me, right? And so, and then all of our shows are on YouTube. We post this on Facebook Live, but you can always go to YouTube and look at the old shows and find out. But I just pray and hope everybody get this information tonight, and and ask questions. Email me, and we'll go from there. We'll take it from there. But we're here to help. That's what we do. We're here to help. And so we want to give you information because we want you to be the best that you can be, right? And when the game of football is over, some of you guys are talented in other things, right? And so, seek some of that stuff out and make it happen, right? Make it happen. But make sure you get yourself educated. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. And parents especially, Lawrence, I want to say this too. Parents, please reach out to us. If you got any questions, I would love to answer them for you. And maybe one night, Lawrence, we have a Q&A with the parent section.
Oh, Bobby, that would be absolutely excellent. We have to recognize the importance of having a mentoring program within our communities.
Right.
There are all over this country. There are young athletes, old athletes like ourselves, who are willing to reach back and share a word. And what you want to do is make certain that you get that person who's reliable, who's responsible, and who's giving good advice.
Absolutely.
And this is a great source to get that information.
Right. And Lawrence, I hope you and I get a chance to go back home together and do something together in the community, right? And talk with some of the kids and talk. There are a bunch of NFL players, former players, that live in Delray.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure we can partner with some of them. I got a good relationship with some of them, right? And so, we need to make that happen. Bobby,
I'm in it with you, man. I think it's overdue. Absolutely. And I think that we have to view our talented athletes, student athletes, as a resource for their communities and for their families.
Absolutely.
And anything that we can do to help them do better and do better for themselves and for their families, I think we owe it to them, because
absolutely,
and I know that everybody in Delray Beach helped us get to the next level. There wasn't a single person in that community that wasn't pulling for us to do better and to be successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I agree with that 100%. Hey, and by the way, here's a great book by Mr. C. Spencer Pompey from the great Delray Beach.
Oh,
it's called More Rivers to Cross. I'm reading this book. It's 800 pages, but man, what a great book.
Oh, Bobby, thank you for sharing that. I'll get it.
Absolutely. Call the Spady Cultural Center in Delray Beach, Florida, and order this book. It will bless you. Talking about a great football coach, but a greater educator in Mr. Pompey. Everything in Delray is named after Mr. Pompey now. So we're proud to, he was a principal at Carver High when Lawrence left Carver High. He was also the principal at Carver Middle School when I left Carver Middle School. And I remember how he helped me in middle school. And so,
I have a picture. I have a picture of Coach Pompey coaching my mom in basketball.
Oh, seriously?
I have it
Really?
on my dresser in my bedroom.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'll tell you what, he was a great man. And, you know, we talk about legends, Lawrence, on this show. We talk about football. But I'm telling you right now, we're going to have more than football players on this show in the future.
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
going to have educators on this show, legendary educators on this show out of the great city of Delray Beach or Palm Beach County.
Bobby, they poured into us in a way that I know that I have not done the best job of reaching back and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And this would certainly give us an opportunity to do that.
So.
They poured into me, and all that I have and all that I have become.
Right.
I owe a great debt to those people who poured into me, man.
Yes.
Great debt.
Amen. I give amen to that, Lawrence. That's power right there. Well, look, guys, that's our show tonight. If you like it, comment, share it. This is 100 Yards of Football, and this was our legend segment tonight. And parents, students, athletes, please listen to this over and over again and help yourself. We'll give you information to help you. And we don't want to do anything less than to help you guys. Thank you for watching. God bless. Lawrence, thanks.
Yeah, Bobby. I'll see you.
All right.